The Heroes and the Hidden by Kitty Quat on AO3. Episode 10, Chapter 10. Big Shot. So what? Naomasa sighs, running a hand through his hair. Izuku's expression as he walked out made him want to run back to him. This is for the better. Good for the kid. He needs a home with people who could be attentive to him. Naomasa is so busy at work that most days he just relies on coffee and pure spite to keep him going. Midnight has work as well. She's still decently new to the workforce, having graduated from UA a few years prior. She can't care for a kid. He knows that leaving Izuku every day would be heartbreaking for the kid. He doesn't seem to have any support beside his mom, and she was gone. Naomasa shook his head, opening his car door. This was for the best. He'd be back next month to check on the kid and make sure everything was okay. But for now, he needed to let the Hondas take it from here. They knew what they were doing. 5 other kids in their care, all of whom were ostracized for their quirks. He trusted them to take care of Izuku. But something just felt wrong as he stared back at the house. Something made his stomach churn and made him feel sick. He turned the dashboard, cranking on the radio to tune out his thoughts. Izuku had requested President Mike's station on the drive over, and it's there blared through the speakers. He would be okay here. Naomasa pulled away from the house, leaving Izuku behind. Hatsume! The hag's voice called upstairs to him. He was so tired of hearing her voice. She was probably just gonna yell at him again. He was too slow in school for her. Too big of an ego. It's not his fault he was number 1. He was better than everyone at everything. First in his class. Wasn't good enough for her. First in sports. Wasn't good enough. He had the most friends. Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. He didn't have her love. No. Deku did. Deku stole his mom's heart because he was so weak. He took Auntie's love, and he took the hag's love. Katsuki was better than Deku in everything, but the hag loved him more. Katsuki couldn't compete, and it made him pissed off. He should have been enough. Better than enough. He was the best. Katsuki, come downstairs. The hag shouted up at him. No, she didn't shout. She simply told him something. Why didn't she yell? She always yelled at him. Something was wrong. Katsuki put his homework down he had been working on and ran out of his room. What happened? Katsuki froze as he reached the top of the stairs, placing his hands in his pockets, and walked down slowly. He didn't care. He was too good to care about anything. Nothing bothered him because he was the best. Something felt wrong, though. Even to the best. There was a police officer in his living room. His head looked like a cat. Katsuki scoffed at the bell attached to a uniform. It looked stupid. The officer looked at him, raising an eyebrow. Katsuki scoffed, sitting at the couch with his mom, as far away as he could from her. He didn't do anything wrong. So why did he feel like he was in trouble? Did fucking Deku go to the police? Katsuki didn't do anything. He was just trying to protect Auntie. Why would the police listen? Deku was just a useless idiot, not worth listening to. Bakugos. The officer states, I come to you with some grim news. Katsuki could feel his mother stiffen. Something must have happened to their shop. That's the only thing that could make the hag nervous. Why should he care? His parents spent too much time there anyways. Inko Midoriya has been confirmed dead, as of 2 days ago. Wait, what? No, Auntie was fine. She was just over a week ago to talk to his mom. She was fine. She couldn't be dead. She couldn't be dead. Katsuki clenched his hands in his lap, letting them smoke slightly. This wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Deku was supposed to leave Auntie alone, not the other way around. Deku. What had happened to him? It was his fault. It had to be. He was a fucking Deku. He had hurt Auntie by not having a quirk. He must have hurt her again. He hears the hag take a shaky breath. Can I ask what happened? She questioned, her hands shaking slightly in her lap. The hag was crying? She didn't cry. This wasn't right. Of course. As of now, the case has been closed. It was very open and shut. He speaks softly, a slight purr to his words. A villain with a sludge quirk attacked Miss Midoriya in her apartment, in an effort to hide from a hero pursuit. Katsuki could hear his mom gasp softly. She was surprised. She couldn't be surprised. It wasn't right. She knew everything. He felt a tear roll down his face. Wiping at it viciously, he glared at the officer. What about fucking Deku? He snarled, refusing to let his voice shake. He was strong. He didn't cry. He didn't care about anything. Pardon? The officer asked him, tilting his head slightly. Like Deku would do. Deku always did that, and it pissed Katsuki off to see the police do it. Izuku Midoriya, Inko's son, his mom said, through hitched breaths. She was looking at the table intently. What happened to her son? Sansa coughed, looking away from the pair. He witnessed the event. He had tried to save her, but didn't succeed. His voice is pinched slightly. Deku. Fucking Deku. If he had a quirk, he could have saved Auntie. Katsuki could have saved Auntie. Katsuki was strong. Deku was weak. Deku had killed Auntie. He couldn't save her. He wasn't a hero. He was a villain. A monster. Why did you come here personally? His mom whispered, breathing hard. Inko had written a will and asked you and your son to be personally informed if something happened to her. She wrote that she didn't want to make you hear through the news. The officer said, scrunching up his nose. Of course. The hag wipes at her tears, failing from her eyes. She was always thinking of other feelings. She chuckled slightly, sniffling. I have one more thing she asked of you. The officer continues. More? They couldn't do more. What could they do? Auntie was dead. What did she want from them? She asked for you to take care of her son. What? The hag looked up, her eyes flaring. No. Sansa freezes at the sudden refusal. He had expected them to at least discuss it. But Mrs. Bakugo had dismissed him out of turn. He started her, shocked, before pushing. Are you sure you don't want to think about it? He asked slowly. The kid on the other side of the couch made a popping noise from his hands. Most likely his quirk. He and Naomasa had done a bit of research on the family after reading Mrs. Bakugo's will. The son, Katsuki, was around Izuku's age. Naomasa thought a close friend of Izuku due to the nickname that Izuku had said. But this boy called him useless, like it was his name. That should have been his first indicator. No, I don't want Izuku here. Mrs. Bakugo said suddenly. I don't want that boy anywhere near my family. Her fins clenched tightly together as she stared at Sansa with determination. He is a curse. His mother couldn't see it, but I can. Sansa stares at her, eyes wide. How did Mrs. Midoriya make friends with this woman? He clears his throat, pushing down his bias, before rising to stand. He needed to tell Naomasa that he was wrong. This house wouldn't be an option for the kid. Very well, he says, pulling down his shirt to straighten it. I will be on my way then. Wait! A little voice speaks up. The little Bakugo stands by him suddenly, hands clenching into fists at his sides. Where is Deku? Sansa stands a little taller at the name. It's so filled with hatred that it makes Sansa mad. Mad at the woman who stares at him. Her gaze filled with hate. She is a woman of hate. And she made a child of hate. Sansa sighs, looking down at the little kid. He is in the foster care system right now. You won't be seeing him anymore. Sansa was suddenly grateful they had chosen a house further from this neighborhood. It was pure coincidence, but the luck was better than it could have been. The little boy in front of him turned his chin up to Sansa, commented, "Good. He should go die. He's a monster." With those foul words, the kid ran upstairs, away from Sansa. His mother sat on the couch, still glaring, her hands tightening even more. "You can leave now," she suggests, a deep tone in her voice. Sansa nods sharply, turning to the door and leaving. He can't be out of that house of hatred fast enough. Naomasa clenched his teeth, listening to the report Sansa delivered. Inko's best friend had called her son a curse. The kid, Izuku called Kachan with so much adoration, was his bully. Hearing what the kid said made things click in Naomasa's head. Katsuki Bakugo. Quirk. Explosion. The user can secrete a nitroglycerin sweat and explode it at will. It generates a high amount of heat if used directly. Izuku was covered in burns. His back and front had burns all over them, the worst being one on the shoulder that Naomasa had seen. It was gruesome, and done with a powerful heat quirk. Naomasa would never let him get near Izuku again. The group home felt a lot better to him than it had that morning. Okay, that was... So, I do not like, absolutely, without a definitive proof, I do not like, not Katsuki, Mitsuki. I could sympathize with Katsuki because, as Sansa said, this is a woman of hate who made a child of hate, right? This is where nurture versus nature comes in. Personally, I've always believed that it is a mixture. Bakugo's personality in the sense of nature, like born with kind of thing, he is already very much explosive. I feel like he would be explosive no matter where, like no matter where he was brought up. I feel like that is just how it is. Katsuki is explosive. But mix that with an explosive mother who is constantly wanting better of him and who he feels she likes Deku more, which in reality she didn't really like Deku. Clearly she didn't really like Izuku. We find that out in this chapter that she did not like Izuku. She tolerated him because Inko loved Izuku. Therefore, Mitsuki feigned to like Izuku. It was very much conditional. Inko being the condition. As long as Inko loved that boy, she would tolerate and pretend to like the boy as well. But she didn't really. I had a suspicion that she did not really like Izuku. I think it was it in chapter 1 or chapter 2? Where she told Bakugo to stop doing that, to not worry Inko, and to not do anything to, I think she mentioned something along the lines of that boy. Something along the lines that, like, it reeked me. It wasn't, like, necessarily damning, but, ooh, did it reek me. It reeked me. But, so yeah, something along the lines of that is what happened. And, I kind of knew. I didn't fully knew, but I sort of knew, you know, like, slightly, kind of, not really, knew. And, obviously, duh, it is... hindsight is 2020. Okay. Katsuki, I cannot blame him that much. As I said, he was brought up in a life, not only is his mother that way, he is brought up to be that way. He is expected to be the best. So when someone who doesn't have a quirk, he feels is getting attention and love from the people he wishes to get attention and love from, and his mother already being so, you know, hateful, and him already having a very explosive personality to begin with. Match explosive personality, somebody who's literally teaching you to literally be hateful, maybe not literally teaching you word by word, step by step, but kids pay attention. The way you behave ends up being how, like, kids imitate that, right? Kids imitate that. Kids repeat words they hear. Kids, you know, they, especially younger ages, they learn via observation. They learn via what they see, which is why I think nurture does take part in someone's personality, but I don't think it 100% fully dictates someone. Like there's personality disorders out there, so clearly there's also a natural component in the sense of DNA and in your body. I personally believe that we all have a base set of personality, and our memories, aka nurture, formulate that. So not only our parents, but memories of people, memories of things, and that is what formulates our full, whole-rounded personality, instead of being just the base ground. Think base ground as those very two-dimensional characters in like animes, cartoons, where like they don't have a distinguishable what's it called? Personality, but it's very basic and you could get the groundworks of it, and yeah, sure, you could twist it a bit so that they're a little less 2D and more 3D. Think of it that way. That's how I think of it. And as for Naomasa, I'm still up on the end with you, dude. You better be checking up on Izuku. And when Izuku tells you that he's doing fine, and you register that lie because you have a lie detector to work, you should be, I'm not giving you any excuses. Not Izuku pretending that everything's okay. You know damn well that he be lying. But then again, Izuku's really smart, so let's see how that goes. But the parents, not the parents, but the foster parents, like how do you... Thin line, Naomasa, very thin. Very thin. Midnight gets a pass because she trusted you to do the job. Plus, it's literally your job to do that. Or not do that, technically it's a social worker's job, but you put it upon your job. You literally said, I'm gonna take charge. Next chapter, chapter 11, all the things they want. Summary, first day in the foster home. Okay. Right, great, amazing. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.